It seems that the problem of forced dissolution of his company does not affect Meghan's #1 cheerleader. Omid Scobie has recently continued to slam members of the royal family, apparently trying to get rid of the harsh insults from Harry and Meghan. Prince Andrew's appearance at his father Prince Philip's memorial service enraged people, according to the co-author of Meghan Markle's and Prince Harry's biography. The Duke of York was given a prominent role at Tuesday's, March 29, service of thanksgiving for Philip as he helped support the Queen from her car to the inside of Westminster Abbey. It marked the first time Andrew was seen at such a high-profile event with the royal family since he agreed to an out-of-settlement over assault allegations. Omid Scobie, co-author of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's biography Finding Freedom, believes the decision to give Andrew such a role angered people who wanted to support the Queen. Speaking on an episode of the Royal Report podcast, Mr. Scobie said, "It enraged people because we wanted to support the Queen at that moment. We wanted it to be her day and it was a beautiful service. I at that moment just felt angry because I knew where this was all going to head. The focus would move over to Andrew, the service itself would be completely overshadowed, and that's exactly what happened." He continued by adding that Andrew is still a man that has shown no accountability for his role in anything. Leading UK psychotherapist and body language expert Nick Davis watched Andrew as he escorted the Queen during the memorial service. He believes his simple nod as he left the Queen at the front stopped his attempt to show his empathetic side to the general public. Nick told, "I think having Andrew support the Queen as she comes in could have also been to soften his image with the general public and show his empathetic side. However, he betrays this by just nodding to her as they move to their seats on either side of the aisle rather than checking if she is okay to make the last few steps." Besides, Prince William and Kate Middleton's recent tour of the Caribbean has been described as all offense, no charm by co-author of Finding Freedom, Omid Scobie said. Speaking to Chief Royal Correspondent Jack Royston and Royal commentator Kristen Meinzer, Scobie described the Cambridge's tour as sticking to a traditional format which was not well received by the Caribbean people and presented many missed opportunities. With a tour such as this, you're visiting former British colonies, countries that have deep history when it comes to slavery that was sort of overseen mostly by Britain, and the royal family at times. It's impossible to start a trip like that without feeling like it must be acknowledged in some way, said Scobie. I think partly the fact that this trip was to do with celebrating the Queen's Jubilee. In the process, it completely forgot about being respectful or mindful of the political climates in each country. Meinzer said she believed the whole world was cringing when photographs of William and Kate were released meeting children separated by a chain-link fence and also taking part in a military parade dressed in white with visual links to colonialism. Scobie provided insight into failings that lay within the Cambridge's team on this subject. The most important thing is to have people there who are actually mindful of what looks good and what doesn't. I just think that was lacking on this trip, he said. There was no one there to identify the fence photographs as potentially problematic. Because we know the reality is that the couple were just trying to meet as many people as possible. There was nothing sinister behind those images, but it was the thoughtlessness. Royston posed the question to Scobie that had the tour been undertaken by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, would the reaction have been any different? Scobie continued that he believed the issue was bigger than the Sussexes and that answers lay with the palace, adding, I think we have seen in the past where a tour has been able to set the tone from the very beginning. I remember being in briefings for the Sussexes tour of Southern Africa and how it was Buckingham Palace staff who really went out of their way to say that this tour would be a little different. That the couple would be mindful of the politics within the local areas that they were visiting, that we wouldn't be seeing state dinners, that there wouldn't be the expensive wardrobes that you're used to on a royal trip. So that was proof that at one point the palace did know how to make these things work in a modern environment. On the final night of the Cambridge's visit to Jamaica, William gave a speech in which he addressed, in part, the call for him to speak out against slavery. Scobie acknowledged that the prince was placed in a tough position, continuing, for a member of the royal family to denounce slavery, to take ancestrally some sort of accountability for it and to apologize would also greatly affect the future of the royal family, because when you start apologizing or admitting that perhaps some of the wealth you have amassed within your family have come from such horrendous historical moments, you're going to be received with the calls of give it back. Scobie felt that the event as a whole lacked in the sensitivity needed during a modern tour of these areas, summing up his feelings with, this tour was the charm offensive, and, it had been all offense, no charm.